Welcome in.
Let's get to work.
The fastest growing sports spectacular. It's the Big E Sports Show. Your 1 hour comprehensive expose of all things in the sports universe. With a focus on some of the biggest sports icons on the planet. Now, here's your host, the one and only award-winning Elissa Walker Campbell.
Hey, it is week 8 of the college football season. We're getting ready to take a deep dive into the Big Ten Conference. Always a true pleasure when we have the opportunity to catch up with Jay Paterno. You can follow on X at Jay Paterno. Hello, Jay.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Let's get right to it because stunning news out of the State College where you guys fired your head coach, James Franklin, just a year after reaching the college football playoff. And you've certainly lived and breathed this program for decades. So we're looking forward to your perspective. I mean, what was your immediate reaction when Penn State decided to move forward?
Really surprised by the timing of it all. I think the environment here had gotten to where we had a college hockey game last Thursday, so this is before we've lost Northwestern, and the other team scores a goal, and the students started chanting "Fire Franklin." So it was just one of these things. No matter where it was, it had just become a situation I don't think it was good for anybody involved. Whether it's right or wrong is a whole other argument, but. Was definitely surprised by the timing of it, given that we have an off week after this week, which is generally when you would make that move. And it was kind of surprising to everybody.
You know, I mentioned in the open, the decision to fire Franklin comes just a year after Penn State made the college football playoff. So in your mind, Jay, I mean, what changed so dramatically in the program's direction?
Well, I think, in the off season, the echo chamber of, we're going to be so great. This is the year. We went and got Ohio State's defense coordinator. We put all our chips in the middle of the table and kept a lot of really, really important players on the roster. And so the expectations really kind of outran the reality, I think. And I think the Oregon game became such a downer that there was almost this cloud hanging over a lot of people. And when they went out to UCLA and lost, I think that really set things in motion. But it's amazing when you consider that on a Saturday night, Penn State scores 21 points in a row to get a 7-point lead on Oregon, and it has a 4th and 1. If they stop them, they win the game. To where 15 days later, your head football coach is fired in the middle of the season. It was really amazing to see.
You're listening to The Voice, Jay Paterno, joining us on the Big E Sports Show. I'm your host, Elissa Walker Campbell, and we're talking about Penn State and just getting the reaction to James Franklin's firing. And what do you believe were the underlying issues that led to this decision? Performance, leadership, culture, or was it something else?
I'm not sure. I think it's a lot of different things.
Okay.
I think that certainly going 3-3 with the kind of season that people expected. I think that there was this overarching narrative about not winning big games. There was a lot of pressure on them, and I think, as I said, some of the expectations became unrealistic. And so I think it probably just became a situation where both Penn State, with renovating the stadium and having to do ticket sales for premium seating that's coming, there's a lot of financial pressures to make this move. But again, without really talking to the athletic director specifically about it, I'm not exactly sure what the final straw would have been. But I think everybody is ready now to turn the page and start the search for the next guy, whoever it may be.
Yeah. Speaking of financial pressure, Penn State did pay a massive buyout. So does that indicate just a sense of urgency from the administration to just go ahead and turn the page quickly?
Yeah, and I think, the thing about these buyouts is that they go on for, he's got, I think, 6 years and change left on his contract. So we would pay him that over the 6 years. It's not like you hand a guy a check for $59 million. Based on the contract, it would be paid over the next 6 years. And if he gets to the job, then we would get some of that money back. I think it's a little bit like when people get divorced and they want their ex-spouse that they're paying support to get remarried as soon as they can. So we're all rooting. But I think James did a good job here. He took Penn State to had a lot of great memories here for him. Mm-hmm. And I hope certainly that he'll look back with fondness on his time here.
I wonder too, Jay, just how do you see this affecting recruiting and just the overall morale inside the locker room? I mean, you guys will face Iowa on the road Saturday night, 6:30 Central Time on Peacock. But, because you got to rally the troops. These boys still got to play. We're just at the midpoint of the season.
Yeah, and the thing about it is we're sitting at 3-3 right now. And we have you talk about the next three games. We go to Iowa, have an off week, go to Ohio State, and then Indiana comes in. I mean, we might be a better team and not win any of those games because those three teams are all, Iowa's underrated. We all know how good Ohio State is, and we certainly know how good Indiana is. So it's going to be tough. And then, once we play Indiana, then the last year at Michigan State, who's a good team. And they get Nebraska coming in, who's had one of their better years of late. Then you go to Rutgers. So it's going to be a real challenge for these guys. But having gone through a transition before in my coaching career, it's one of the things that's really therapeutic for the guys is when you actually get on the practice field and can focus only on football. And when you get on, when the whistle goes and you start playing, that too is one of those escapes that you get from all the other stuff going around. And hopefully our guys will use that to kind of rally and find some wins with it where people don't think they can get them.
Yeah. Which players or just, I should say, position groups really got to step up and keep this team competitive through this transition?
Well, I think we're going to have a new quarterback. Drew Aller got hurt. He's out for the year. So Grunkemeyer, is our new quarterback, and he has not started the game. And starting your first game at night at Iowa is no small feat. So hopefully the offensive line rallies around him, the run game rallies around him, and some people can take some of the pressure off him. And you'd hope that your defense can hold people to as few points as possible. Maybe get some turnovers on a short field to give them some confidence, get some scores, because we're going to need to steal some plays somewhere along the way, special teams, whatever it may be.
Jay, just give us your evaluation of the current state of the roster. I mean, is this still a top 15 caliber team? What do you see?
Well, I thought going into the season that the wide receiver would be a position they need to get better at, and they went to transfer portal and got guys that are better, but probably not the game changers that you'd need. Mm-hmm. But they played well. But I think that this team can still be competitive with almost anybody. If they play like they did against Oregon, they can play with anybody. And I think that's still the case, except for the fact that Aller is not their quarterback. And what we're going to see Saturday night really remains to be seen how well a new guy comes in and is able to handle some of the pressures and do some of the things that need to be done to win games.
It is fascinating. There's several vacancies in college football right now with coaches. So let's talk about hypotheticals. I mean, what traits should the next head coach embody? I mean, what are you looking for? What are those Penn State values?
Well, I think the big thing is, we have always been a place where we excelled in the classroom and on the field. And I think that's, everyone wants to talk about championships and those kind of things, and those are certainly important. But at the end of the day, and in the era of the transfer portal and the era of NIL and stuff, that gets lost. Mm-hmm. And the example to me is last year, Ohio State won the national championship, but their NCAA APR, which is the academic performance rating, they were perfect. They were number one in the country. So it can be done even in this era. So to me, that should be what the kind of goal that we aspire to. We've done that in the past, and we can certainly do it in the future. So I think those are the things, and I think you want to have somebody that understands. So many times the fans all have ideas of who they want. Yeah. But it comes down to fit. We could turn around and throw Nick Saban $20 million a year, and some of our fans will say he's too old. It doesn't matter. Uh-huh. There's not one person out there that's going to make everybody happy. But I think the important thing is when search firms go out and athletic directors go out, I think it's important to say, this is what we do. This is the parameters you have to coach under. Do you want to do this or not? My dad used to tell us when I was coaching for him, Joe would say in recruiting, he said, recruiting is a little bit like getting married. You can tell a couple of lies to make yourself look better than you are, but sooner or later, the reality sets in, you got to live together. And I think that's even more important in a coaching situation when you start committing the kind of money that we're talking about.
Hey, I want to back up just a minute. You were talking about the transfer portal. I mean, so how does the firing of James Franklin, how does that impact the transfer portal? And do you expect some key departures or perhaps new opportunities for players to emerge?
Yeah, I think it does affect it. I mean, there's some kids that were probably close to James that will feel like, hey, this isn't, I came here to play for him. I want to go look around. There'll be some other guys that just say, hey, this is a school I've always wanted to attend. I'm going to stay put. So, I mean, it remains to be seen. And without really knowing the individual motivations of each guy, it's hard to say who will stay and who won't stay. But I think that also complicates the entire process now when you hire a new coach. They've got to, go try and save the recruiting class that's out there already. But on the flip side, they got to recruit the 80, 85, or 100 guys in their locker room. And how do you balance that? And that in this era, that's become really, really difficult.
Wow. Hey, my final question for you, just looking ahead, what is your personal hope for the next chapter of Penn State football? And just what message would you give to the fans right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody just needs to be patient. Let the administration find the next coach. And then once that happens, rally behind whoever it is and get excited about what can come in the future. Because, look, we're not that far off. I mean, anybody thinks that this program is in disarray or doesn't have the talent or doesn't have the resources to go be a national champion has been paying attention. So we're there. It's just I think this will be a breath of fresh air and a good page to turn to see what comes next.
Good stuff. Jay Paterno, give him a follow on X at Jay Paterno. Where else can they go and find you online and some of your good stuff?
Let's see. Instagram is JV Paterno, Jay, the letter V, my middle initial, Paterno, and then jvpaterno.com as well as you can find all kinds of stuff there.
Yeah. Countdown to kickoff. Penn State will be on the road to face Iowa, 6:30 Central Time on Peacock. We'll talk soon. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
You bet.